This video will show you how to calculate the length of an arc on a circle. Here is circle P and an arc. Notice that the arc of a circle is part of the circumference of a circle. It can take up a large part of the circle. In fact, the circumference is an arc length, or it can take up a small part of the circle. In order to measure the length of the arc, you need two pieces of information. You need the measure of the central angle and the length of the radius. To find the arc length, you multiply the measure of the central angle and the length of the radius. This can be represented by the formula S is equal to theta times r, where S represents the arc length and theta is in radians. Notice that for this circle, with the radius of 1, the arc length is the same as the central angle. But what if we change the diameter? If we make the circle larger so that the radius is 2, now the arc length is going to be twice the measure of the central angle. And if we keep the radius the same, but change the measure of the angle, the arc length is still twice the measure of the angle because the radius is 2. So for all circles, the measure of the arc is equal to the measure of the central angle, theta, times the length of the radius, where theta is in radians. Using this formula, try the following problem. The diagram below shows the central angle in circle P. What is the length of arc AB in centimeters? First, write the formula for the length of the arc, which is S is equal to theta times the radius. Substitute 5 pi over 6 for theta and 8 centimeters for r. Solve to find that the arc length is equal to 40 pi divided by 6, which simplifies to 20 pi over 3 centimeters. Try another problem. Diagram below shows two central angles in circle P. How much longer is arc AC than arc AB? For this problem, you will need to calculate the length of both arcs. Start with the formula. For arc AC, substitute in 2 pi divided by 3 for theta and 5 for r. Solve to find that the length of the arc is 10 pi over 3 centimeters. For arc AB, substitute in pi over 6 for theta and 5 for r, and solve to find the arc length is 5 pi over 6. To find how much longer arc AC is than AB, subtract the two lengths. Notice that you need to find a common denominator, so multiply the numerator and denominator of 10 pi over 3 by 2. Subtract to get 15 pi over 6, which reduces to 5 pi over 2 centimeters. Try one last problem. The diagram below shows circle P and Q with equal central angles. What is the length of the radius in circle Q? The formula for arc length is S is equal to theta times r. If you divide both sides by r, you can rewrite the equation to read that theta is equal to the arc length divided by the radius. For circle P, theta is equal to 5 pi over 3 divided by 10. For circle Q, theta is equal to 3 pi over 2 divided by the radius, which is unknown. Since it is given that theta is equal for both circles, you can set the two equations equal to each other. To solve, cross-multiply, get r all by itself, and then cross out and simplify what you can. To solve that the radius of circle Q is equal to 9 units. In review, the arc of a circle is part of the circumference of a circle. To find the length of the arc, multiply the measure of the central angle times the radius, where the angle is in radians. Good luck!